ਵੈਲਕਮ ਟੂ ਦਿਸ ਐਪੀਸੋਡ ਆਫ ਦ ਹਰਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਸ਼ੋ। ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਸੈਗਮੈਂਟ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਮੁਲਾਕਾਤ ਕਰਵਾਉਣ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਦੋ ਆਏ ਹੋਏ ਮਹਿਮਾਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਕਲੀਨ ਗਰੁੱਪ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸੰਬੰਧਿਤ ਨੇ। ਰੀਅਲ ਏਸਟੇਟ ਮਾਰਕੀਟ ਜਿਸ ਪਾਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਜਾ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਉਸ ਉੱਤੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਲੋਕ ਚਿੰਤਤ ਨੇ। ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਚੱਲ ਰਿਹਾ ਕੀ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ, ਕੀ ਹੋਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਹੈ। ਇਸ ਕੰਪਨੀ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਕੀ ਕੁਝ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾ ਚੁੱਕਿਆ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਖਾਸ ਤੌਰ ਉੱਤੇ ਕਿਹੜੀ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਦਾ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੋਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਹੈ ਇਸ ਮਾਰਕੀਟ ਵਿੱਚ। ਆਓ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਲੈਣੇ ਦੋਨੋਂ ਹੀ ਮਹਿਮਾਨਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਅੱਜ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਨਗੇ। ਵੈਲਕਮ ਟੂ ਦ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ।
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. So, Mr. Eugene, we'll talk start off with you as to what is your experience in this particular field? For how long you have been associated and what all have you done so far?
Well, I've been in brokerage for about 19 years now, so it's been quite a long go. We specialize in both commercial and residential, and I run an office of 15 agents in downtown Vancouver.
Right.
And we've got clients from all over North America, international clients, and we do transactions that are national and multinational, and we're both licensed in Canada and the US.
Okay. सुमीर जी, आप अपने बारे में बताइए, आप इस ग्रुप के साथ क्या करते हैं?
मेरे को क्या कहते हैं, इस ग्रुप के साथ ज्वाइन किए हुए 1.25 साल हो गए। मैं इंडिया से आया था और मैंने वहाँ पर क्या कहते हैं ब्रोकरेज चलाई है और चला रहा हूँ ऑलमोस्ट 20 ईयर्स से। इनके साथ मैं ज्वाइन इसलिए किया क्योंकि मेरा मन था कि मैं कमर्शियल ब्रोकरेज करूं
जी।
और ये एक ऐसा ग्रुप है जो क्या कहते हैं बुटीक फॉर्मेशन के साथ में बेस्ट ऑफ द एक्सपर्टाइज्ड लोगों के साथ काम करते हुए अपनी पोजीशन को काफ़ी स्ट्रॉन्ग करते हुए मार्केट के अंदर डूइंग वेरी वेल।
ओके।
सो मैंने सोचा कि मेरे को सीखने को मिलेगा।
राइट।
मेरे को ग्रुप से क्या कहते हैं उसका पास्ट एक्सपीरियंस का सपोर्ट मिलेगा एंड पीपल विल अंडरस्टैंड मी बेटर बिकॉज आई एम कमिंग विद अ बेस विच इज़ वेरी वेरी स्ट्रॉन्ग।
ओके। और जब प्रोजेक्ट्स की बात करते हैं, इस ग्रुप के साथ आपको काम करते साल 1.5 साल जो हुआ है, वर्क एथिक्स की जब बात करते हैं, रियल एस्टेट की अब जो मार्केट बनी हुई है उसके अंदर बहुत बड़ी एक समस्या बनी पड़ी है। पता नहीं लग रहा है किस तरफ ये जा रहे हैं। तो अब तक क्या क्या प्रोजेक्ट्स जो हैं ये कर चुके हैं और क्या मेजर इनका फोकस क्या है?
लैंड असेंबली हैज़ बीन कोर,
राइट,
काफ़ी स्ट्रॉन्ग उसके अंदर क्या कहते हैं ये करा है इन्होंने काम। मोबाइल होम मिस्टर क्लाइन की खुद की क्या कहते हैं एक्सपर्टीज़ है एंड आई थिंक ही इज़ वन ऑफ द टॉप रियल्टर्स इन दैट।
राइट।
he has been very successful in doing other particular commercial deals also, जिसमें से एक अचीवमेंट इनकी लास्ट ईयर जब मैंने ज्वाइन किया था इन्होंने तब कंप्लीट करी थी टेलर वे के ऊपर। आई थिंक यूजीन यू कैन टेल अबाउट द टेलर वे प्रोजेक्ट।
For sure, we sell about 50% of all the market is in land, so it's no surprise that our team does about 50% in land. But we do mostly investment real estate on the commercial side, and we have a full residential team that does that.
Okay.
And some of our signature projects are we completed a 6.5 acre site in West Vancouver that was valued in around 40 to 42 million. Complex land assembly work, high-rise sites, simple duplex sites. We do everything from little to big and support little to large developers and investors.
Oh, that's wonderful. Now, keeping this trend in mind, what you are talking about, a lot of work has been done by your company. The real estate market presently is out of mind. People are not understanding what's happening. With your experience, what do you see? What's happening in the market? Is it just the foreign investors, or there is a genuine interest amongst the people of this particular land that they want to buy now?
Right. Well, the big thing, if you sit up at the 100,000 foot level and you look down, the reality is that there's this global problem and this global issue of urbanization.
Right.
There's all over the world, the largest cities are faced, there's about 4.6 billion people that now live in urban centers. That's expected to grow to about 6.5 billion.
Okay.
Which means that all of the large cities, Sydney, London, Vancouver, Tokyo, Guangzhou, Beijing, doesn't matter. They all have to double in size if that is correct in the next 40 years.
Right.
And so that's a huge stress on cities. And when you look at both on energy fronts and then you couple that with Vancouver being one of the most desirable places in the world to live consistently, there's no surprise that we're getting this type of demand. And over my 20-year career, it's been an Asian market, then we've had the Hong Kong market, then we had the Europeans when the EU was being formed. Then when Russia was going through it, we had Russian money coming. Now with the US dollar, we have a lot of Americans that are coming in, but they of course don't make the media attention because all the attention is on the Asian market. So there's a lot of bustle in the market in terms of that. But the the big thing is urbanization.
Right. So that urbanization factor is one factor, but when we see in the media that this market is going out of hand, and the government of BC has also come up with some new laws, I would say, and especially the shadow flipping thing which happened.
Right.
When we talk about flipping as such, could you please explain our common viewers as to what does flipping mean, and how can rules of this kind which are being brought forward, can they tame this market?
Sure. Well, anytime you try to tame a market artificially, there's always some kind of problems, no different than in a rental market. But, you know, informed consent about assignments is very important.
Right.
Shadow flipping, the word, I've never heard of it in 20 years. It's something that came up in the media.
Right.
But assignments are, you know, a legitimate form of moving real estate.
Right.
One of the big issues, especially for us in land development, is, you know, in the city of Vancouver, for example, it takes 6 months to fix your staircase with a permit.
Oh.
If you want to build a house, it's between 12 to 14 months.
Wow.
In the city of Surrey, you've got at least a 7 to 8 month process.
Right.
So if a proper due diligence is going to be done by a developer for, let's say, 2 or 3 homes or a small subdivision, it's prudent to let that happen over a 3-4 month period.
Right.
But in this rapidly rising market, those numbers are now starting to change. And so if you see the properties, you know, appreciate between 10 and 30% in a given year, and it's done that for the last 2 to 3 years in various ways, there's obviously money now to be made just on moving that contract.
Right.
And so that's the part that people are coming in with. They don't have the insight to be able to see how the market is moving.
Right.
They maybe didn't have the understanding, and they have these timelines that are natural in the market that have to be adhered to.
Right.
So in the land part, that's for sure happening.
Right.
And then in the housing market, it's the same sort of process.
Right.
You definitely, we're not supporting where people are uninformed.
Right.
But it's, if you sell your house for a certain amount of price, that's your price.
Absolutely.
Or you keep it.
Right. So that's what the question is, that this thing which is being brought forward in the media, nobody is forcing anyone to sell a house at a particular price. You ask for it, you get it, and you're done, because you have signed a contract of purchase and sale. Now the question that arises is that this has been happening earlier also, but why so much hue and cry now? With your experience, why would you?
Well, I'll tell you how it happens.
Yeah.
So traditionally, you know, if I asked you to get with me into $1 million lawsuit,
right,
you and I would not go into that unless we had a lawyer.
Oh yes.
But if I asked you to sell your house without a realtor,
right,
there's a lot of people who would do that. So they get approached in the hopes that whether it's a buyer or a buyer's agent that works with that buyer and has that fiduciary obligation to the buyer.
Right.
They come up and they say to the client, look, we'd like to offer you on this particular piece of property this amount, it's worth this amount, and you don't have to pay a fee,
right,
or you don't have to sign an agreement. The seller may think that's a great idea, but for a few percent, they might be leaving 10, 20% on the table.
Right.
And they have no advisors on that side, because also they could save
right,
by not hiring an appraiser or not hiring. So and then after the dust settles,
right,
and
then
they start to exactly, or they realize they've sold it under market.
Right.
So having, whether you're a buyer or a seller, and having that informed decision is absolutely paramount.
So just to save some dollars, you can jeopardize your interest, but at that time you might feel you have saved some money by not hiring a realtor, but ultimately it's going to be difficult for you if the market goes up.
But even on a buyer's front, most buyers are running around the market looking at properties, searching the internet,
right,
instead of working with predominant in their area, really highly successful realtors that are talking to 50 to 100 sellers a week,
right,
and being able to get in and hire that firm to source a great piece of property. We've got lots of buyers that we work with, and they don't want to overpay or be in, you know, 20 multiple offers every time.
Right.
So you have to be able to source, you know, the best professional you can, figure out where that agreement is, no different than you would in hiring any other professional when it's a serious investment.
Thank you. We'll go for a short break, come back and learn more from you about what needs to be kept in mind in this particular market, and what are the signs which you feel need to be looked into, because ultimately it shouldn't be that things are going out of hand. It should be an affordable market where everybody can survive, because these are the basic necessities of life. Housing is a basic necessity, but why is it going out of hand? What do you predict in future with your experience? We'll talk about this after this short break. ਸੋ ਹੁਣ ਤੱਕ ਜੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਯੂਜੀਨ ਅਤੇ ਨਾਲ ਸੁਮੀਰ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਹੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਕੰਪਨੀਆਂ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਬੜੇ ਲੰਮੇ ਸਮੇਂ ਤੋਂ ਕੰਮ ਕਰ ਰਹੀਆਂ ਨੇ, ਅਤੇ ਯੂਜੀਨ ਕੋਲ 20 ਸਾਲਾਂ ਦਾ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਹੈਗਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਹਾਊਸਿੰਗ ਮਾਰਕੀਟ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਰਿਲੇਟਡ ਨੇ, ਕਮਰਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਅਤੇ ਹਾਊਸਿੰਗ ਦੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਗੱਲ ਕੀਤੀ। ਮਾਰਕੀਟ ਦੇ ਸੰਬੰਧ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਜੋ ਮੁੱਖ ਤੌਰ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਗੱਲ ਕਹੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਇਸ ਸਮੇਂ ਸਮੱਸਿਆ ਇਹ ਬਣ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਵੀ ਫਲਿੱਪਿੰਗ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਸੀ ਪਰ ਹੁਣ ਕਿਸੇ ਹੋਰ ਵੱਖਰੇ ਨਜ਼ਰੀਏ ਨਾਲ ਅੰਦਾਜ਼ ਨਾਲ ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਬਾਹਰ ਆ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਸੈਲਰਸ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਧਿਆਨ ਰੱਖਣ ਕਿ ਇੱਕ ਪ੍ਰੋਫੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਨਾਲ ਕੰਮ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਏ, ਨਾ ਕਿ ਸਿਰਫ ਕੁਝ ਡਾਲਰਸ ਬਚਾਉਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਡੀਲਿੰਗ ਕਰ ਲਓ। ਉਸ ਸਮੇਂ ਤੇ ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਮਝਦੇ ਹੋ ਕਿ ਪੈਸੇ ਬਚਾ ਲਏ, ਪਰ ਅਲਟੀਮੇਟਲੀ ਨੁਕਸਾਨ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਮਾਰਕੀਟ ਵਿੱਚ ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਇੱਕ ਚੀਜ਼ ਜੇ ਮਿਲੀਅਨ ਦੀ ਵੇਚੀ ਗਈ, ਜੇ ਅੱਗੇ ਉਹ ਫਲਿੱਪ ਕਰਦੀ ਗਈ 1.5 ਮਿਲੀਅਨ ਦੀ, ਤਾਂ ਉਸ ਸਮੇਂ ਪ੍ਰੋਬਲਮ ਅਰਾਈਜ਼ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ। ਸਿਮਿਲਰਲੀ ਬਾਇਰਸ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਵੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਕਿਹਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਸੁਜੈਸ਼ਨ ਇਹੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਫੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਨਾਲ ਕੰਮ ਕਰੋ ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਹੀ ਗਾਈਡੈਂਸ ਮਿਲੇ, ਡਿਊ ਡਿਲੀਜੈਂਸ ਕੀਤੀ ਜਾਵੇ। ਤੇ ਅਰਬਨਾਈਜੇਸ਼ਨ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਭਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਸ ਸਮੇਂ ਚਿੰਤਾ ਦਾ ਵਿਸ਼ਾ ਬਣੀ ਪਈ ਹੈ, ਉਹੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਇੱਥੇ ਵੀ ਵੇਖੀ ਜਾ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਭਰ ਤੋਂ ਲੋਕ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਇਨਵੈਸਟ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ। ਲੈਣੇ ਇੱਕ ਛੋਟੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ, ਵਾਪਸ ਆ ਕੇ ਹੋਰ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਲੈਣੇ। ਸਵਾਗਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਜੀ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰ ਫਿਰ ਆਪ ਸਭ ਦਾ ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਇਸ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਵਿੱਚ। ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਦੋ ਐਕਸਪਰਟਸ ਅੱਜ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਮਾਰਕੀਟ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀ ਕੁਝ ਚੱਲ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ। ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਜੋ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਹੀ ਕਾਊਂਟ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਇਹ ਗਰੁੱਪ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਲੀਨ ਗਰੁੱਪ, ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਪਿਛਲੇ ਲੰਮੇ ਸਮੇਂ ਤੋਂ ਲੈਂਡ ਅਸੈਂਬਲੀਜ਼, ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਇਲਾਵਾ ਕਮਰਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਅਤੇ ਰੀਅਲ ਏਸਟੇਟ ਵਿੱਚ, ਹਾਊਸਿੰਗ ਮਾਰਕੀਟ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਕੰਮ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ। ਆਓ ਕੁਝ ਹੋਰ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਲੈਣੇ। ਸੋ ਬਿਫੋਰ ਦ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਯੂ ਵਰ ਮੈਂਸ਼ਨਿੰਗ ਅਬਾਊਟ ਡਿਊ ਡਿਲੀਜੈਂਸ ਐਜ਼ ਸੱਚ, what else should be kept in mind? The role of a realtor is to guide the seller or the buyer, but right now it doesn't seem to be. A realtor says something and the price of the house is something different when they are selling or buying. So what is your advice to the sellers and buyers, and also to the people from your own field as to what should be done?
Well, the big thing that people need to understand is that 20 years ago, we would compare Vancouver, Calgary, and Toronto.
Right.
And you would always hear stats updates about what's happening across Canada. Today, you very rarely hear Vancouver compared to Calgary or anyone else.
Right.
Vancouver's always compared now on an international scale. So if you want to understand how to work in this market and what's going to happen in the market, although nobody has a crystal ball, it's understanding what's happening in other markets.
Right.
If you look at the price of an average 800 square foot condominium in London, England, you will see that the price point's about the same in terms of dollar values, except
Right.
they're in pounds.
Right.
So it's double. If you look at Hong Kong, it's about 1.5 times.
Right.
If you look at what's happening in Beijing and you see that on a really nice apartment that you could sell in downtown Beijing, you could buy 3 homes on the West End for.
Wow.
We just had a client that was coming from Beijing and saying, geez, I'd love to be able to buy 2 homes instead.
Right.
And so when you start to understand that on a global scale, that's where Vancouver's positioned. But
Right.
it's not everywhere. It's in certain pockets of the market. West Vancouver, West End, you know, and there's some beautiful parts of South Surrey, White Rock, Central Surrey, even North Surrey is coming around to deal with that. And you're going to see that demand reflected and starting to move out into the valley as well.
Right.
But understanding what's happening in that global market is actually what's going to drive it. So when you start to look at, in terms of competition, I can see that the housing prices can continue for a while if
Right.
you start looking on an international scale.
Okay.
What can I afford to buy? And we're not the only ones going through it.
Right.
I was in Istanbul on the Bosphorus. There was a transaction there that was $157 million sale, largest in Europe in that month.
Wow.
Didn't even get one note in the
Right,
media,
right.
not even in the paper, because Vancouver real estate's so important to us.
Right.
But Seattle's going through it, San Francisco's going through it, Austin, Texas is going through it. All these major cities have influxes of multiple international types of buyers,
Right.
and we can see that cash coming out.
ओके जो इन्होंने बात की है कि ये अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर के ऊपर जो ये चर्चा चल रही है, ये सिर्फ यहीं पे फोकस नहीं है वैंकूवर के ऊपर, लेकिन जो आमतौर पे एक डर है लोगों में ये है कि जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल लेते हैं $1 मिलियन का एक घर है, उसकी वैसे तो कीमत शायद 6 लाख थी, वो मिलियन में बिक गया है। क्या मार्केट क्रैश भी हो सकती है या ये जो बेंचमार्क एस्टैब्लिश हो गया है यही रहेगा? इसके बारे में आपका क्या कहना है?
जैसे इन्होंने बोला कि वैंकूवर मार्केट जो है वो इंटरनेशनल मार्केट है।
जी।
सो इंटरनेशनल मार्केट के अंदर कैसे होता है कि लंदन जैसे होगी जगह, यहाँ वैंकूवर हो गई, जब भी देश के अंदर या पूरे वर्ल्ड के अंदर कुछ भी प्रॉब्लम होती है
जी।
तो लोग सेफ जगह पे इन्वेस्ट करना चाहते हैं, बिजनेसमैन अपने आप को सेव करना चाहता है, अपनी
Right.
फैमिली को सेव करना चाहता है। मे बी उसी रीज़न से मैं भी क्या कहते हैं इंडिया से कनाडा में वैंकूवर इसलिए आया क्योंकि
Right.
ये एक सेफ जगह है, मेरी फैमिली के लिए अच्छी है,
ठीक।
तो एप्रिसिएशन भी अच्छी है। तो ये मार्केट कभी गिरती नहीं है।
राइट।
कभी रशिया से लोग आ रहे हैं तो कभी सीरिया से आ रहे हैं तो कभी चाइना से आ रहे हैं तो कभी इंडिया से आ रहे हैं, तो कोई कहीं ना कहीं से आता रहता है। तो ये मार्केट अगर ऊपर चढ़ती है तो ये प्लेटू कर जाएगी, ये कभी गिरेगी नहीं, देयर विल बी नो फॉल इन दिस। सो इट विल प्लेटू, स्टॉप फॉर सम टाइम, कैरी ऑन ग्रोइंग। जो पहले 20 साल पहले हो रहा था, 15 साल पहले हो रहा था, वो वाली स्टेट से बाहर निकल चुकी है मार्केट। इट इज बिकम अ इंटरनेशनल प्लेस टू स्टे। वैंकूवर इज ब्यूटीफुल, ब्रिटिश कोलंबिया इज कॉल्ड टू बी अ Canada,
beautiful British Columbia, absolutely,
right?
Yeah.
And it is being compared to Switzerland also,
right.
So when I came here, so I felt that it's so beautiful.
So that trend is going to continue, and there is no,
please invest absolutely happily without any worry.
Right.
In 2007 and 2008 when we went through the crash,
right,
our market dropped 18%. And there was no issue with our banking system. There was no one that was without cash. Of course, those people that were exporting to the United States had issues.
Right.
But that recovered in 18 months.
Right.
And that was supposed to be the worst recession since the Great Depression.
Absolutely.
So if you talk about market corrections where in 2-3 years 30% appreciations has happened, if you see a market correction of 5 or 8 or 10%, that would be pretty normal.
Right.
But over a 36-month period, that's not a reason to suddenly sell your house or be in a depressed state or to see that there's going to be a recession coming.
Right.
We don't see any of that.
Okay, so finally, while Vancouver is prospering, but the ripple effect is also being seen in neighboring cities like Surrey, Langley, and other places. When we talk about Surrey, of course, we always say that when we talk about Vancouver, there's limited land. But in Surrey, still some projects are going on. Are you coming up with some projects over here also in Surrey?
Oh yes, I mean we do lots of land work. So places where, like on 176th Street, we're working on a project right now to bring services to that area on a larger scale, multiple acreages. We're also looking at South Surrey to be able to help with development in and around Morgan Crossing. There's lots of great work that's being done. Walkable shopping districts, lots of parkways, very sophisticated developments. And the city of Surrey has done a lot with infrastructure in the last 3-4 years. I know they're working right now on light rail to make it more connective.
Right.
They've got the RAV lines that are going on in Coquitlam. We're working on a high-rise site in downtown Coquitlam for the Evergreen line. So there's that pressure that's happening in Vancouver is pushing families and younger families to look at other places.
Right.
Before, Port Moody and Maple Ridge used to be way far away, but with the Golden Years Bridge and the connectivity,
everything is connected now.
Yeah, it's absolutely the same places to live, and you've seen those appreciations in those areas.
So this trend will continue, as you have said, with the international market having that kind of pressure, urbanization. So similarly, Vancouver and its neighboring areas will also keep on prospering.
Yeah, and I know that the business community and the province continue to speak about transportation initiatives to build that connectivity even better.
Absolutely.
And now with the large shopping centers and everything going in, you don't need ever to come into Vancouver.
Right.
Vancouver used to be the hub for entertainment and things like that. Now people are finding that everything in their community is self-sufficient. Maybe once in a while they go in for a Canucks game, but that's it.
Right. Eugene and Sameer, it was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you for this information.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So ਜੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਅੱਜ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਉਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਦੋਨਾਂ ਹੀ ਮਹਿਮਾਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਤੇ ਫੋਕਸ ਕੀਤਾ ਤੇ ਖਾਸ ਤੌਰ ਤੇ ਯੂਜੀਨ ਦਾ ਇਹੀ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਡਰਨ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਨਹੀਂ, ਇਹ ਮਾਰਕੀਟ ਕ੍ਰੈਸ਼ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਏਗੀ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਇਸ ਸਮੇਂ ਅੰਤਰਰਾਸ਼ਟਰੀ ਲੈਵਲ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਜੋ ਕੰਮ ਚੱਲ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ ਉਸ ਦਾ ਅਸਰ ਇੱਥੇ ਵੀ ਪੈ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈਗਾ। ਸੋ ਮਾਰਕੀਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੁਝ ਕਰੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਤਾਂ ਭਾਵੇਂ ਆ ਸਕਦੀ ਹੈ, ਲੇਕਿਨ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇੱਕ ਡਰ ਜ਼ਾਹਰ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਕ੍ਰੈਸ਼ ਹੋ ਜਾਏਗੀ ਉਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਪੂਰੀ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਭਰ ਚੋਂ ਲੋਕ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਹੀ ਆ ਕੇ ਇਸਟੈਬਲਿਸ਼ ਹੋਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ। ਜਿੱਥੇ ਵੈਂਕੂਵਰ ਪ੍ਰੋਸਪਰ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਨੇਬਰਿੰਗ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਏਰੀਆਜ਼ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਹੀ ਡਿਵੈਲਪਮੈਂਟ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਰਹੇਗੀ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਜੋ ਪ੍ਰੋਵਿੰਸ ਹੈ ਸਾਡਾ ਤੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਿਟੀ ਹਾਲਸ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਡਿਵੈਲਪਮੈਂਟ ਹੋਵੇ, ਉਹ ਭਾਵੇਂ ਇਨਫਰਾਸਟ੍ਰਕਚਰ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੋਵੇ, ਉਹ ਭਾਵੇਂ ਟਰਾਂਸਪੋਰਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੋਵੇ ਜਾਂ ਲਾਈਟ ਰੇਲ ਟਰਾਂਸਪੋਰਟ ਦੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਨੇ ਆ। ਹਰ ਇੱਕ ਸ਼ਹਿਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੁਝ ਨਾ ਕੁਝ ਉન્નਤੀ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਜਿਸ ਦਾ ਕਿ ਬੈਨੀਫਿਟ ਆਮ ਜਨਤਾ ਨੂੰ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਮਿਲੇਗਾ।